An analysis from the Urban Institute indicates that banks affected by your proposal account for more than half of all mortgage originations. The Urban Institute's analysis further indicates that the proposal will disproportionately increase costs for Black, Hispanic, and low and moderate income borrowers. So one effect of this proposed rule seems to be in direct conflict with the goal I and many members of this committee share to close the racial home ownership gap and make housing more affordable for first-time home buyers, particularly buyers of color. Vice Chair Barr, Chairman Grunberg, Controller Sue, as you work to finalize this rule, what do you say to Black and Hispanic communities who are concerned that your proposal could make the dream of home ownership even more difficult to achieve?
Senator, first let me say we take these concerns very seriously. We're quite open to comment, and we want to improve the rule before we get to a final rule. This is one area where we've heard there may be concerns that the mortgage rules are overcalibrated. Of course, the proposal leaves the same rules governing mortgages that are issued by FHA or that are insured by Fannie and Freddie, that are guaranteed by Fannie and Freddie, agricultural loan, VA loan. So those rules don't change. Those are most mortgages in the country. But we do care very much about access to credit for low and moderate income borrowers. We hear those concerns, and we will very much take those into account as we work to finalize the rule.
If I may say, Senator, we're deeply sensitive to this issue. The preamble to the rule actually asks a couple of questions and outlines alternative approaches for risk weights in regard to mortgages, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to address this issue in the final rule in a satisfactory way.
I agree with what Vice Chair Barr and Chairman Grunberg said.
Well, I appreciate your desire to maintain safety and soundness in the financial system, but I would encourage you to also ensure that we keep enough capital flowing so hardworking borrowers can become homeowners. And while it's true that some of those other entities, FHA and others, may not be affected by this, not everybody is necessarily going to fall in that category to qualify, so it's really important. I want to thank you all on the work on the updated CRA rule. I think the changes make a strong step towards more accurately evaluating and encouraging banks' engagement with low and moderate income and minority communities that for far too long have faced barriers to financial inclusion. However, even the strongest of rules won't have an impact unless they are accompanied by appropriate supervision and enforcement. We saw earlier this year with the collapses of SVB and Signature Bank what can happen when regulators fail to properly supervise their charges and enforce our banking laws.
You may want to check this out. States are now beginning to reissue hundreds of thousands of one-time relief payments. These tax rebates have expired. Since they went uncashed by many residents, you may be eligible to take action and claim one more relief payment from your state. And this could be worth hundreds of dollars. My dear friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video to hear about all of the details. Also, to say thank you for being part of this community. I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. The Minnesota Department of Revenue announced this week that nearly 150,000 one-time tax rebate checks have expired and are being reissued. State officials say the tax rebate checks expired after going uncashed 60 days from their issue dates in August and September. A batch of reissued checks will be sent out this week, and another in early December. These checks will again be valid for 60 days from their issuance date. Revenue officials will work with eligible taxpayers who have not received the reissued check, but they cannot issue a rebate payment while the reissued check is still valid but uncashed. Unclaimed rebate checks will eventually be handed over to the Unclaimed Property Division of the Minnesota Department of Commerce. In September, some residents of Minnesota were confused by the appearance of the mailed checks. According to CBS News, Submittable Holdings is sending one-time rebate payments that the Minnesota legislature approved this year. The paper checks will appear in a plain white envelope and will carry the signature of Revenue Commissioner Paul Marcotte. The Department of Revenue says the checks are protected by the standard banking safeguards that help detect and deter fraud. The rebates are going to individuals making up to $75,000 a year and married couples who earn up to $150,000 annually. About 2.1 million residents of Minnesota were eligible. So if you filed your taxes online and the state has your banking information, you should receive a direct deposit. Otherwise, you can expect to receive a paper check. Some residents of the state of Virginia are eligible for a refund check of up to $400 thanks to legislation passed last September by the state's General Assembly. In accordance with said legislation, the state government has a budget of $900 million to issue refund checks, which will go to residents who submitted their tax return in a timely manner. Eligible individuals will receive a one-time refund payment of $200, while couples who file joint returns are eligible for a $400 check. So if you are a Virginia resident and filed your tax return on time, you have to wait for the amount of check to be deposited into your bank account or sent via postal mail to the address registered on your return. Since a payment will be issued automatically, there is no need to do any extra paperwork to request it. According to state information, payments will be issued before November 30th, as the Department of Revenue intends to send all checks before the end of the year. So friends, I recommend keeping an eye on your bank account and mailbox. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs announced back in early November a unique tax rebate for nearly 750,000 families, marking it as a first of its kind. The Arizona Families Tax Rebate, incorporated into the state's fiscal 2024 budget, offers a rebate of $250 per dependent under the age of 17 and $100 per dependent over 17, as claimed on a household's 2021 tax return. The maximum rebate is currently $750. Eligibility requires residents to have filed a full-year resident personal income tax return for 2021 and claimed at least one dependent tax credit on the 2021 tax return. These rebates will be issued using direct deposit information or a paper check if direct deposit details are unavailable. Deposits are anticipated in November. Arizona taxpayers with dependents are slated to receive their stimulus checks by the end of this year. The state reimburses taxes for dependents under the age of 17 at a rate of $250 per dependent, with a cap of $750 for 3 dependents. For each dependent age 18 or older, taxpayers will receive $100. This relief measure was advocated during budget discussions, aiming to assist residents in managing inflation using surplus state funds. Well, my marvelous and most magnificent friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for today. Thank you, dear friends, for being part of this community. To say thank you, I will be announcing several winners every Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.